everyone. This is Saturday, December 21st, doing a post-week recap on this market and our portfolio. So S&P had a pretty volatile week. Friday, we closed actually kind of strong. Looking at how Thursday, Wednesday went, and then Thursday, we kind of kept dropping. Ended the day pretty bearish. But then Friday, we rebounded pretty hard. Although ultimately, S&P sold off a little bit into the close, end of the day right at the 50-day simple moving average. So the 50-day SMA is currently acting as clearly a magnet, a battleground. It's bears brought it back down right below it, or right around it. We have a gap here that I was hoping would just get filled on Friday, so that we could get out of our puts, but ended up rebounding pretty hard. So we still have a portion of the gap that still needs to get filled. And looking at Bitcoin, had a pretty bullish rebound here off the 50-day SMA on Friday as well. End of the day, actually with a pretty bullish candle, but Saturday tried to make a run further higher and kind of got some lackluster performance after that. So we're just chopping away here. We're still in that daily squeeze. So this 97,200 area is a pretty high volume area. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the point of control here on the 4-hour chart. So we're just chopping here. Anytime it seems to try to get out of it, either to the upside or downside, it gets sucked back into this level. So we are currently in the main portfolio. Let's look at what happened on Friday. So this is I didn't do very much trading on Friday. I was out and about, but I just closed 2 positions, and essentially it was de-risking. I got out of my QUBT, about 1,000 shares of those, because if you recall from the last video, I had accidentally doubled that position. So now I currently hold just 1,000 shares. I had 2,000. And then QMCO, sold 500 of these at basically break even to lower my exposure as well. But I'm still holding 500 shares here. So that's it. That's all the real action I did on Friday. Looking at the open positions, we already talked about QMCO, Q, and Qubit. Oklo has been rebounding well, so I still hold 1,500 shares. It is performing quite well despite the market volatility in S&P. So I like holding stocks that are kind of going against the grain when the market's dropping. If the stock is strong and doesn't seem to care, then if and when the market actually rebounds, I would expect this to rebound even harder and go higher from there. So we had that sort of squeeze. It's a messy squeeze, but it technically fired short, but didn't really get very far. Now we're 6-7 dots in, and it's proving to still just be in chop mode. So still liking Oklo to the long side. Oops. Xena. I still hold 1,000 shares. Now I had a limit order actually on Friday to sell at $10, and this guy printed a high of 997. So I never got filled on that, and it sold back down to 772. So I didn't end up getting any closes or profit taking on this. And the rest of these are all of my short exposure put options. These are all long put options, and kind of just going down the list. SMCI, I got into this Thursday. It's ultimately because this is just has been a weak stock in general, and yeah, we will monitor this. I do like this to the downside if the market keeps selling off. Same for NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA hasn't necessarily been weak against the market, but it hasn't really been. It's just been sort of sideways, and I've got this sort of daily head and shoulders pattern, and I'm monitoring, it's not really playing out exactly according to the pattern, but um, I still hold the puts. We have the 200 period on the hourly as resistance coming down here. Friday was a strong day, but we'll see if it can keep, if the bears can keep it down and bring it lower next week. And then I have the S&P puts. This one went against me pretty hard. This is the one I'm taking the most heat on. Um, Down about 54% here. So these are December 31st. So it's gonna expire the last day of the year. I do like that the 50-day held it. It closed out the 50-day and didn't really get to close above the previous day's high. But this was a pretty strong rebound, and I am looking for. I'm still looking for further downside to fill the gap this coming week. We will see how that goes. And MSTR, CleanSpark, and Coinbase puts, those are all just bearish plays on Bitcoin. CleanSpark, I mentioned this before, I think is probably the weakest out of all of them. So I do like this the most to the downside. We're on the second dot of the squeeze firing short, and we'll see if that can take it further down. From a price standpoint, I think we do kind of, if this keeps selling off, we do kind of bottom out at around $9, between $10 to $8 in this support area. We also have the 200 week moving average at $10 here, so $10 is a decent target, I think. Looking at Coinbase, this one had the 50-day SMA bounce, pretty decent bounce. If you're long Coinbase, that was actually a pretty good area to buy. It closed this gap the previous day. I'm still looking forward to kind of keep going further, but we'll see. Objectively speaking, this area, the 265 area, was a very good place to buy if you're bullish on Coinbase. It has a lot of horizontal support. It was the 50-day SMA, and then also a gap fill. So, even though I'm short, I do acknowledge that it is a decent place to get in. But I'm still playing Bitcoin to the short side on the short in the lower time frames. The last one is MicroStrategy. This one I did miss the fact that it got added to an index, so it was probably the strongest of the Bitcoin stocks that rebounded. So I'm surprised I'm taking this. I'm not taking more heat on this, to be honest. I might be. This might be a bad price on the closing price for Fidelity. Definitely taking heat on the short positions. I would say that when I am shorting and looking for kind of a local top, it's more of a risk management exercise than anything. While I am, short the market, if my sizes are too large, then I can easily get shaken out, because shorting a market is just in general very difficult, right? Because it does take the elevator down and it rallies back up a lot. There's just a lot of volatility. So it's much easier to hold onto the positions if they're smaller positions compared to the overall portfolio. And it's also good to just have long exposure on stronger stocks. And that's why I have long exposure on quantum stocks. These quantum stocks just have proven to be outperforming and actually going up despite S&P's performance. So name of the game really is to buy strong stocks that have relative strength to S&P, and then try to short weak stocks that are weak relative to S&P. So yeah, while I am taking heat on this overall, I am still pretty comfortable. I can sleep pretty well at night with this type of exposure, both to the long and to the short side. Also note, I am going to get assigned shares on ASTS and TSLL because I had the short puts. I had the short puts here at a $24 strike. So because ASTS expired under 24, I'm going to get assigned the shares of 1,000 shares. Same for TSLL. I got 20 contracts at the 32.7 strike. So because we closed at $30.34, I'm going to be buying 2,000 shares. Okay, so that'll show up on Monday in this portfolio. Looking at the Robinhood account, we are basically back to break even at $4,000. I took some profits on Xena, and I closed out Qubit, and then I bought some IWM puts at the end of the day on Friday. So those are still up slightly, and yeah, it's a small position of only two contracts. Um, but yeah, it's nice to honestly, it's nice to see this being flat since I started this challenge, despite all the bad trades I've made. But I do want to tighten it up here with this portfolio. I have um, not traded it as well as I would have liked, as you can tell when you compare it to the main portfolio. So I gotta kind of take inventory of the strategy I want to implement with this portfolio, given that it is a smaller size and I don't have as much options to move in and out of positions since it's a cash position. Once I sell on the day, I can't reuse that cash to open a new position. So it has to be more of a swing position or just overnight trades. And yeah, I gotta kind of reassess that and revisit this. So overall on the week, uh, had a pretty decent week. Portfolio is up around 50, and you have to take into account the unrealized right now of um, minus 14. I can't really complain about that type of performance on a week where S&P did this. You know, it was a down week. It was a negative 2% week on S&P. So hopefully next week we get some movement in our direction, which is down on the S&P and Bitcoin. If not, then we stop ourselves out and this bull market continues higher, which is going to give us more opportunities to profit. It's definitely easier to profit when the market is going up. So I am not gonna. I'm not gonna be unhappy if this rally just continues higher. Those are ultimately going to be opportunities to make back any losses that we incur. So that's it for the video. It's a shorter one. I am maybe coming down with something, so sorry for the voice quality there. But thanks for watching again, and I'll see you guys on Monday.